Welcome back to another episode of United We Stand, Divided We Podcast. I am Robert from the U.S., just outside Nashville. And with us, we have our co host, Lionel from Toronto. Toronto. Toronto.
You're getting better.
I was just being, I just kidding.
Don't mind me if you
Canada.
see me leaning. It's because I got a slightly different light set up, and I kind of ran out of time in perfecting it. So maybe I should have just moved my entire existence this way a bit. Yeah, it's Toronto, not Toronto.
I know. I was just,
it's
being
just
smart
poking
ass.
fun, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's like if I went to Louisville and I said, "Hey, are you guys from Louisville?"
No, it's Louisville.
Probably, yeah, exactly. And I thought it was just your accent saying it, but I've since heard lots of people from Louisville calling it Louisville. So,
yeah.
Anyways, that's not what we came to talk about today.
It is not. It is not. Hope everybody's had a good week so far. Some crazy stuff going on and some cool stuff going on and some more crazy stuff going on. So a few things to talk about.
Yeah.
But first, I want to mention, and I don't forget it every year, but sometimes it sneaks up on me.
Okay.
Today is 13 years of 9/11. I cannot believe it's been that long.
I'm sorry. Did you say 13 years?
13 years, 2001. Oh,
13.
Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry.
23 years.
Bad time to be laughing. 23 years. I was about to say the same thing. By the way, we did not pre-discuss this, but
No.
I was going to do exactly the same thing and mention that. And and you know what? A lot of people say, well, it was two different perspectives because this is what we do on our show, right? We talk about differences and similarities between the United States and Canada, and we got a whole bunch of subjects we haven't even touched yet that we're going to really have fun with in the future. But the one thing about it is, just to be brief in that area, is that affected Canada every bit as much as it affected the U.S. for all kinds of reasons. We know a lot of the same people. We're married to people across the border. We have kids and family and children and parents and brothers and cousins across the border. We work across the border. And so on and so on. And people who from several different countries perished, unfortunately, in that event.
Yeah.
And also, let's not forget, when they closed the American airspace, we have NORAD here, right? What do you call it? North American. I can't remember.
North American Brad.
Yeah, exactly. The bottom line is it's there to protect North America. And it is equally involved. Canada and the United States are together in protecting all of our coastal regions around the entire of North America. So basically, the bottom line is when they closed the entire U.S. airspace, 100% to everything but authorized military, that within 30 seconds became an order in Canada as well. The exception was Canada allowed planes to fly in so that people would die midair and had to land in Canadian space, and demanded, when they had some pilots saying, no, we're going to New York. And they couldn't even get a hold of anybody in New York because they shut everything down. And they said, no, you cannot change your radio and you cannot change your course. If you do not land in Gander, you will be met. And they said this. I've actually heard radio. You will be met with military aircraft. You must land at Gander or whatever airport they were closest to. So there were planes that were way past Gander. They had to land in Winnipeg. If they were too far past Winnipeg, they had to land in Calgary or Edmonton, and so on.
Well, it makes sense because, I mean, the whole attack was with airlines, not like military jets. So it could be any passenger airline. It could be a weapon.
And it doesn't matter how small it is, because they were only big jets, so they should have allowed a couple of. I never heard anybody say that, but I've heard a couple of people recently who are too young to be there to understand it. And say, well, did they allow some? No, they didn't, because you never know. It could be a ruse while they actually send a much bigger bomb inside a small plane. You don't know, right? So they have to check everything out. And it took them, I can't remember, I think it was like 3 days before they would allow passengers to go home again.
I don't recall. It was so messed up.
Yeah. And if anybody's wondering just how serious it was in regards to how much Canada got involved in basically keeping the air safe for everybody, and I mean the people on the planes, just look up Gander, Newfoundland. What is it called? Operation Yellow Ribbon, I believe. Google that and see just how far even that one small town went, and how many
Yeah.
jumbo jets a tiny little airport that was honestly once the largest airport in the world. Yeah, it
Oh,
was made as a military airstrip, like 100 years ago or something like that, for World War I or two or whatever, well, before two, but
yeah.
specifically to get it, quick take off, the fastest way to get overseas into the theater.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, it grew into a normal town, and
Well, I never forget because my brother had just gotten out of the army. And I remember him getting a message from command because, when you get out of the military, at least in the US, I don't know how it is in Canada, but you have to you automatically go into reserve status. So they can call you back
oh, okay,
within, I don't know, like maybe a 3 or 4 year period of time. They can automatically call you back for, if they need to. And
oh,
he got a
I did not
message
know
from
that.
command that they might be recalling some people back into the service, but he didn't get called up. But he's like, hell yeah, I'll go. I'll go. And it was a crazy time. Anyways, 23 years, not 13. Math is hard for me. So,
Yeah, yeah.
it's always a day to remember because I think everybody that was of any adult age at that time knows exactly where they were when that
I think
happened.
anything from like 11 or 12 and up, and you probably remember it.
Probably.
Maybe even
'Cause
younger for some people.
yeah, I'll never forget it. But anyways,
Yeah,
so that's just the first thing I wanted to make mention of. So,
yeah. Oh,
excuse me. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of a sinus issue. Just a weather change here. It's kind of gotten a little cool in the mornings. So,
uh, poor
so
baby. It's
sorry
only.
about that.
I'm sure it's only like 55. I mean, 65 degrees in the morning, and you're freezing to death.
50. Thank you.
50. Oh, poor baby. I
50.
woke I woke up the other morning, and it would have been closer to about 43. So,
Yeah, I'm not ready for 43 yet.
roughly.
But when I get to Germany temperatures right now are mid high 60s during the day and 40s at night. Daytime temperatures, fantastic. I love it. Got to do a lot of walking around, so it's
Well,
not
wait a
gonna be
minute. When
hot.
you go?
But
When are you going?
I leave next Friday.
It'll be colder then. Sorry to tell you.
No, according to the 10-day forecast, as of right now through the 25th, it's mid high 60s.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
they're getting a little bit of a hang on to the decent weather there then, which is nice. It's not hot, but it's not cold. So
Trust me, I've
that
been
is
paying close attention because the only day that I really care anything about weather is on the 26th, which is when we're supposed to drive Nürburgring. I don't want it to rain. I don't care what the temperature is. I just want zero rain. All the other days, I don't
personally,
care.
I would love to be there, and I would love to drive the track in the driving rain if I had the proper wheels for it. I've done a racetrack in the rain and watched everyone else either going really slow or skidding out. And I was just zipping along past them, no problem, because I had tires that were meant to drive in the rain.
I understand, but the laws of
Mind
physics
you,
will tell
not
you
not at
that
not at 200. Not I didn't have tires that were meant to drive in the rain at 250 kilometers an hour, mind you, but
no, but laws of physics tell you a red road does not have as much traction as a white
retro
road.
roared.
Apparently, I'm having a really hard time talking tonight. So
That's
sorry.
good. Right? And there's this week's
Anyways,
short.
yeah, that's on me this time. Wet roads and all. So, anyways, but
All right,
yeah.
Barbara
So
Walters. What's next on the agenda, or first on it, really, because we haven't really gotten to number one yet.
yeah, well,
What are you
no,
talking
I
about?
guess really the first thing I was going to talk about was the debate. We just had the Harris
Ooh,
Trump debate, and
all right.
this was a really highly anticipated debate. Of course, Kamala Harris has never had a debate like this, but she's been a successful prosecutor for many years. She's an attorney, so she's done a lot of debating in courtrooms for sure.
Well, of course she
And
has, but here's what I want to know, and I'm sure everyone watching wants to know: is did she do well?
she did very well,
Oh my
much
God.
better than expected. In the beginning, you could tell her nerves, I guess, probably got the best of her. You could tell she was a little not skittish, but you could just tell people's voice,
Yeah.
get a little crackly or whatever. But then once she got through the first like 5 or 10 minutes and she started actually answering questions and getting into the thick of it, she took it away, and she was confident and very precise in most of her answers. Of course, both of them beat around the bush, with half the answers, but
Yeah.
everyone thinks that she actually controlled the whole debate. I'll tell you this. Here's one thing that impressed me the most is that Trump can be very intimidating because he's an asshole, and that's how he kind of like rules by intimidation, right?
Yeah.
And never once did I see any type of intimidation from her. As a matter of fact, most of the time when she was rebuking him, is that right? Again, I'm not talking well. Anyways, she would turn her head and she would look at him, and she would just like burn holes through the side of his head, and he refused to look at her. He would not look at her, but she would stare him down and just literally like rebuke everything he was saying to his face, but yet he would not turn and look at her. And I thought that was impressive. He hardly wouldn't even say her name. He kept saying, Biden administration, Biden this. And she finally said, I am not Biden. I am Kamala Harris, so I am my own person, but yeah, I thought it was a very interesting debate.
I am not Biden. I am Kamala Khan. Harris. Those
Now,
superpowers.
I will say, for those of you watching, I am not Democratic. I am Republican by nature. I'm conservative. I don't like a lot of the Democratic policies and the way they do things. And, but I also don't like a fascist, Marxist, Putin wannabe in the White House either. And that's what the other side is. So again, Trump's got some good ideas, and I don't think a lot of his policies as far as economics are necessarily bad. But I just think the man has other intentions that people don't get.
I have to dive in when you say that. I have to dive in. I don't think Trump has any ideas whatsoever, yet alone good ones. Anything that is involved in any way, shape, or form, anything that he talks about is somebody else came up with the idea. Every bad idea that he throws out is someone else telling him, don't let him do that to you. Just tell him no. And it's spout off some of your BS. The man doesn't do anything. I could go on and on about the guy, and then everyone's going to get mad. We're going to watch. Well, this will be our most viewed one because Trump lovers will come bashing after me or something.
Well, he one of the things that a lot of the moderators and the stuff I read after the fact said that Trump stayed pretty much on the defensive, and he kept going back to the same old bullshit, basically ridiculing, criticizing, the way he does. And everyone
does he know
said
anything else?
Everyone said that when he was asked specifically, like, what's your plan? Because he doesn't like Obamacare. He wants to get rid of Obamacare. But he didn't get rid of it when he had the chance, when he was in office, because he didn't have a plan to get rid of it. And he couldn't just like end it because you're going to kill insurance for millions of Americans, right? And so they asked him again, like, well, you want to get rid of Obamacare. What is your plan to get rid of Obamacare? And he's like, well, we have some things we're considering. And he doesn't have a plan. But on the flip side of that, Harris was very much like, yes, I have a plan. I have ideas and things I want to put in motion, And he kept saying at the very end, it was really his most poignant rebuke to her was, why haven't you done it? You've had 3.5 years in office as vice president. Why haven't you done it? And which is a good point. He should have brought that up like way earlier in the whole debate. But again, she's vice president. She's not the president. She still has to, kind of rule under Biden's, term of ideas and et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know. It's going to be very interesting how, if votes are swayed after the debate. Of course, you're going to have the Trump loyalists, you're going to have Democratic loyalists, and we'll just have to see how the whole coin falls. But I don't like either one of them, regardless. But I thought she did a very good job in the debate. I just want to point that
Yeah.
out. I don't. Neither one of them are my candidate. If I could take the best of both of them and make one candidate, I would vote for that person. But I don't. I can't do that. So,
Right. Right. Yeah,
you know.
I get what you're saying there.
But she did very
Um,
well. I was very impressed with her poise and her demeanor and her not being intimidated. The fact that she just kept staring him down and he would not look at her, to me, spoke volumes. They didn't have to say anything. That spoke a lot to me. But
right.
we'll see. It's gonna be a crazy one. I don't expect this whole election to go smoothly at all, because you're gonna have the whole, if the Democrats win again, it's going to be stole again, and it's just, at any rate. So that's all I want to say on that topic. That's,
Well, it's going
we
to be
might
a
have another
scary
one, and
time
then we'll
as we
go
get
from
in
there.
there. A little
Yeah.
bit antsy. It's like watching your third favorite football team play in the Super Bowl against your least favorite team, and you're not really sure why you're watching. Um,
Yeah. So, anyways,
that's
we'll move on to the next topic, and we'll save that for the next debate or when we get closer, because
now. I wonder what the
before we
next
know
topic should be. Was there any news this week? Oh man, let's have a quick little discussion about. Do you have you got any news about what these things have going for them? Anything new about them? How much they've been updated? Any of that stuff? Or should I
Well, I
just
didn't have a
ramble on a bit?
chance. Well, no, I mean, you probably know more than I
Eh,
do, only because I did not get a chance to even watch any of it. I did read a few things. I know that it's not even being released with their Apple Intelligence, but
that is
I think
correct.
that I think they missed the boat in calling it IAI. I mean, I could be wrong there, but
Uh, I never, you know what? I never even thought of that. That would have actually been kind of cool.
uh,
I. And it's not even like a tongue twister. You can just I.
yeah. I just thought that
Strength,
was funny.
beauty, titanium. Okay, that's nothing new. We know about the titanium. I don't think didn't we do this once before in a podcast where we rolled through features
Not
of
with
a
the iPhone stuff. No,
no,
not
but
that I
there was
recall.
something. I seem to remember doing this once before. I just don't
Yeah, there was
remember.
a product we looked at. I don't remember what it was, to be honest with you.
Hey,
Unfortunately.
maybe it wasn't important. Maybe it was a flop. Did we predict that? Okay. Thinnest borders aren't any Apple product. This, by the way, is a misrepresentation on this picture. I can tell you that right now. The reason why I say that, the one on the right side, is simply because I've actually seen a picture of it in a guy's hand. Oh, sorry, video, and it really does look a lot closer to what you would see on the Pixel 9 Pro XL, which is it's not a lot of border, but they make it look like this is almost razor thin. And quite frankly, just to put this into perspective, the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, and I'm guessing probably the S23, I'm not sure, are very thin. Uh,
Yeah,
um, bezels. And I don't think these quite match up with that. I think they're going to be closer to what we see on the Pixel. So
yeah. This
that's
looks the same. I don't. Yeah,
I
interesting.
well, for the most part, the phone's relatively the same. There is a this sorry, no, I can't talk. It's contagious. The screen size has been grown. Well, grown. They've made it bigger on all of the devices. Certainly the pros, but I'm pretty sure they said all of them. So the bottom one, let's get see. Oh shoot, that just changed quickly, didn't it? Let's get past that and see if I can find the screen size information. The bottom line is they're slightly bigger, but if you know anything about iPhone, they're always ever so slightly wider and
Disco
less
ball
tall.
pigeon.
Yeah, there's not slightly wider and less tall than your average Android phone, right? So we all have that 9 by 16 or 9 by 20, sorry, uh, aspect ratio for our phones. Oh, not all, but most, right? Whereas iPhone has gone with something like a not 9 by 6, 9 by 18, or 9 by 17, or something like that. I think what they're doing is they're just shaving slightly off, so they're making it the tiniest hair, like we're talking a millimeter taller, which gives them that extra point 0.2 or something like that for the screen size. So they're going to have a 6.9 inch screen on the what is it, 16 Pro Max, whereas last year was I think they said 6.7. I think they said it was.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
tiny little differences, but guys who've actually had it in their hand said you really can't tell a difference unless you actually slap them beside each other and just
Yeah.
kind of stare at them. Why is my battery saver on? My computer's plugged in. I'm starting to panic right about now. You know that, right? Um, this is
Yeah,
not.
it's I don't yeah, I don't see anything, I didn't see anything that was groundbreaking that as I was reading through some of the I was just kind of skimming through some of the information that they were talking about. I didn't see anything that was like, "Oh my gosh, that's going to be amazing." I guess the whole Apple Intelligence thing, we'll just have to see how that kind of plays out. Um, I don't know. They have
Okay.
big shoes to fill, so to speak. I think they have. They're going to have to.
Yeah,
Hopefully, they've taken their time of silence to perfect their product. So when it comes out, it's actually going to be as good as ChatGPT. Gemini has actually made some big improvements here recently. So,
yeah, absolutely. Geez, I wanted to show you this. Okay, wow, this is
so
Canadian
there's the screen
dollars.
sizes. Yeah, 6.9 and 6.3
Yeah,
inch.
are you seeing the cost
Yeah,
in American and sorry
yeah.
in
So,
Canadian dollars? Just to put this into perspective, that's starting from the iPhone 16 Pro Max starts at 256 gigabytes. The Pixel, uh, I can't even think straight. The Pixel 9 Pro XL in Canada, the 256 gigabyte, if I'm not mistaken, is I think 13 or 14.99. We're talking $300 or $400 less than this. And people are still saying that the Pixel's too expensive. Well, it is too expensive, but this is way more too expensive. Like that's ridiculous. I'm sorry. And as you mentioned, the Apple Intelligence. I mean, don't get me wrong; it'll come up later. So I don't want to rag on him too much about that one. But yeah, goodbye.
I think it's absolutely ridiculous that they're still even making a 256 gigabit phone, whether it be Apple, Google,
No, no,
Samsung. I don't care.
256 is fine, but that's what the base model should be, and it should be inexpensive as all hell. Uh,
Yeah,
Basically, when you right now want to bump up to the next one, for a lot of devices, you're bumping up to the 256 and paying an extra 75 to $100. Uh,
yeah, and that's
it's
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
If the base one is 256, then people say, "Oh, well, they didn't have the other one, so I settled," or "I couldn't afford it, so I'll settle for this one." Just to put it into perspective, eh, most major providers, cellular providers, are now offering ridiculously large data packages. Well, yeah, but they're charging more money. But dollar for dollar per gigabyte, you are paying way the hell less than when you paid half the money. I have almost 400 gigabytes of data for $30 more than I paid 5 years ago when I only had 30 gigabytes of data. Do the
right.
math, right?
Yeah,
So that's way more than $1 a gigabyte in savings. I mean, it's
yeah.
so phones should be doing the same thing with storage.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. 256 wouldn't be a bad minimum, but I really don't think that I don't see why you couldn't do 512 as a minimum. Look, storage is cheap now. I mean,
It is.
you can buy storage for a computer for a 1 gigabit, a 1 terabyte stick of memory for not memory, but they're
So
sticks now. They're not hard drives anymore. So those
yeah.
M2 chips,
Well,
and
the
they're
thing is
just
that
not
the
they're not
phones
expensive.
the phones don't use they use UFS. Well, some of them 3.1, which online there's a whole debate about whether 9 series is still using 3.1. It's not. It's using 4. The 8 series the 8 series had 4 UFS 4, I think. No, they had 3.1. And you could tell the difference in the speed of things actually transferring on the phone, which when it's a direct transfer has very little to do with how fast your processor is.
Yeah,
It only has to basically say, "Oh, you want to process this? Okay, I'll allow it to happen. Here's your energy." That's it. So it
yeah,
doesn't take a lot. But the transfer speed at that point is relying on two things. What is the medium of which you're transferring from to what? As in, is this transferring over USB C? Is it transferring over USB A? Is it 3 or 3.1 or 3.2? And so on and so on, right? Is it Wi-Fi? But once it gets it, the bottleneck is usually going to be how fast can the drive write it. And what people have to understand is in order for the drive to write it, the drive has to read it. So when they say
yeah,
read and write, they think, oh, this one only has to read and this one only has to write. No, the
yeah.
one sending
Well,
it doesn't have to do shit except read and then send it. So it can be a slow drive, technically speaking, to a
well.
point.
Speed aside, though, the
Yeah.
size is again, I bought a 1 terabyte hard drive for this computer that I'm on right now,
Yeah.
and it was like $125.
Well, yeah,
So
but
how can
here's
you charge $100 to go from 128 to
okay,
256?
hang on a second.
Come on.
There is another reason for it, and yes, it's still technically cheap, but it's more expensive than what you put in your computer.
Well, I get that.
The stuff they put into the phone, is like I said, it's not M.2 stuff. It's
I
actually
understand
not
that.
as fast, and it should be because theoretically they could, maybe not right now, but in the next couple of years they should be able to actually make another version of an M.2 that's small enough to be able to actually put in a phone and not generate too much heat. That's the biggest deal, by the way. That's why they use UFS 4 because of how small they can make it and how fast it can still read. But it is massively slower than M.2,
Yeah.
even at its massive
Well, I get
improvement.
that, but a 128 gig phone is ridiculous. I
I
would
know,
never
but
buy
hear me
128.
out now, okay? The thing is that the UFS 4 costs way more than double what M.2 costs. And there's a reason for that because the only time you ever buy the UFS 4 is if it's going in a portable device like that, right? That we just don't have access to, technically speaking, unless we have ways to get into that, or you own a business or whatever. Whereas you can get M.2 off of Amazon, you can have it delivered later that day or the next day for next to nothing,
Yeah,
no shipping costs, and put it in whatever it would fit in. Right?
right.
I put a small I put it well, I put a full size one. I know, sorry, a small one in the laptop. I put a really big one. It's actually much bigger in where am I pointing? PS5 here.
Yeah,
Uh, so yeah, those are cheap, and the price is coming down. And
yeah,
512 as a base. I know you're not the first person to say that should be a base, but good luck with that. Because the reason why that's not going to happen is because if that's a base, that means 2 terabyte has to suddenly become probably a minimum, not a minimum, a medium, a mid range. Now, people are going to be saying, "Well, why can't I get a 4 terabyte?" Then that's because a 4 terabyte stick of storage would still cost well over $1,000 by itself,
yeah,
well over. So no, so the 128 is a joke, but the reason 256 has to be a base for now, at least for the foreseeable future, next year or two, is because 512 as a base would mean that you would absolutely have 2 gigabytes in the midsection, and 4 terabytes would be insanely overpriced, and no one would buy it.
yeah. Which made me think of this. So I looked this up real quick. So I got an email the other day from PlayStation that said, "Hey, Western Digital, because Western Digital makes specific PS5,
Yeah,
you know, certified M2 chips, and their 1 terabyte is $119. It's pretty cheap. They have an 8 terabyte stick now, Guess how much it is. Just guess how much it is.
11,527.
No, it could be realistic. Come on. How much do you think it
Okay.
is?
3,500 Canadian, $6 American.
Okay, you're not being serious, but 1,000 US dollars.
Well, I was right. Thousands of dollars in Canada.
Yeah,
What's it
that's
called? Wait,
crazy.
what's it called?
It's the Western Digital Black SN850P NVMe
Wow, you said that
SSD.
so fast. There's no way I'm gonna remember. Okay. Western Digital Black. Uh, I
Well,
wasn't
here,
finished. Well, yeah. What the
here.
hell? You pull it up then instead. You already know what you're looking for. Uh,
Let's see here. That's
I don't remember what did I get for the PS5. It wasn't Western Digital. Although I would buy a Western Digital because that is a very well respected.
oh yeah, they make good
Oh,
stuff. But 8 terabytes
oh my
for
god!
$1,000.
I just tried to click on this with my mouse. What an idiot! Uh, I can't, it's not working. Wow, eight
Ironically,
terabytes. That's, you know what? I'm sorry. That's a good price. See, in Canada, that 349 one, that'll be at least 450, close to 500, and
okay,
that sounds about right for right now.
but here's the funny thing: is you can go to 4 terabytes, half, and even if it wasn't so not on sale, it's $390. That's less than half of 8 terabytes. You're telling me it costs more than double to go twice as big? I don't
Yes,
know about that.
it
I
doesn't,
don't know
but
about
that's just what they're doing because it's memory's always been like that. You know that.
that. Yeah, but see, 1 terabyte to 2 terabytes, that's good. I mean, you went from
Yeah, but that's
119
easy.
to
Those both of
180. I
both of
mean,
those have dropped down ridiculous. 2 terabytes is going to be a base number pretty soon for
yeah.
that type of memory. And honestly, the PlayStation is one of the reasons why it will. More people bought that type of drive for PS5s than they did for PCs in the last 3 years. During COVID, when everybody started finally getting their PS5s,
Yeah.
the sale of those things once they did the update allowed you to do it through the roof.
Yeah.
They're like,
Well, I
what?
can see why you would need a lot of storage though, because as you and I both experienced when they pushed that update for the Black Ops 6, it
Yeah,
was like 90 gigs.
yeah,
And it ended up uninstalling some other stuff because neither one of us had enough room because of other games we had. And we
yeah,
both have 2 terabytes of space between the two SSDs. So, I mean, I get it,
yeah.
but that's
And
just funny.
just to be clear, I put all of my PS5 games as opposed to older PS4 games that are, even if they're upscaled for PS5, if they're not registered in the system as PS5, they go directly on the PS4 or
PS5 storage.
on the PS5 storage. They go on the M.2 if they're a PS5 game. And there is a reason for that. It is actually considerably and noticeably faster than the internal storage that comes with the PS5. Mine is. And if you bought that one, for instance, it would be exactly the same thing. It's much
Yeah.
faster. Like if you look at the specs on that, I guarantee you that one's got you up in the 6 to 7 megabyte per second read and write area.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
because if
sure.
it's not, don't do it. It has to be at least
Well, yeah.
5,500, or you won't put it in there. PS5 won't even take it if it's not 5,500. They
Yeah.
basically put in a hard stop that it has to be actually better than the drive that they put in it,
Yeah,
which is
and which is probably
crazy.
why Western Digital says it's certified PS5 because
Yeah.
they're basically telling Sony, we guarantee you we're making this to be better than
Oh, and
and not ever below than.
yeah,
So, I mean, I get it, but
no,
I just thought that was kind of
yeah, no,
funny.
it goes beyond that. Sony actually did make a registered program, very much the same as how Google has certified Pixel parts, right?
Yeah.
For things that go with Pixel, like when you buy a case for your new phone, you go with one that Google has registered as certified
Yeah.
with them. So D brand with their skins, they're actually registered, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But obviously, what's your favorite case maker for phones?
Well, I mean, I like the same one you do, the Spigen. But here lately I've been using I have one that's from Mouse.
Okay, both of them are registered with Google. Perfect. And also
And
both of them are registered with Samsung as well.
my wife
So
has
they're
Peak
guaranteed.
Design. I like the Peak Design. The only thing I don't like about the Peak Design is the button is really hard to push. The
Okay.
buttons.
Peak
These
Design.
buttons are easier to push, but
Yeah.
the Peak Design has a really great magnetic hold system that works
Yes, I've heard.
amazing. But I don't like the button feel.
Well,
That's the only reason why I don't use it.
Peak Design got their certification from Google. I believe it was just last year.
Oh,
Um, and they're a good bet. It's they don't have what I want in that area. Although when it comes to holding your camera around your neck, on your belt, or whatever, Peak Design. I'm talking
yeah,
about like expensive,
yeah, yeah,
mirrorless
yeah,
camera
yeah.
type stuff. Peak Design is my absolute favorite. When I had to sell all my gear, the Peak Design strap doesn't go with it. I've had the same Peak Design strap for 4 cameras.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, they that's where they got their start, as you know, and they
Yeah,
moved into mobile stuff. So, but they have a whole line of magnetic
yeah.
wireless charging devices, desktop stands. They even have one that you can like literally stick it to the wall. It's not charging, but you can like stick your phone to the wall.
Yeah.
It's
I
pretty cool. I like their stuff. I just don't like the button feel. It's too hard. It's really hard to push it.
Well,
I don't
you
like
know
it.
what? I'll probably never get the chance to see it because I've never seen anybody with one in real life, and they're not exactly in abundance everywhere right now. They probably will be much more popular in the future, but I doubt that they'll catch up with Mouse, who is extremely popular because of a massive social media campaign to get them out there the last couple of
Yeah,
years. It's worked
yeah,
very well. They're very popular. People love them, and they do make really nice looking stuff. Um,
yeah.
I like my Spigen, not because, or as you like to call it, Spigen. Uh,
It's like niche, Nietzsche. I mean,
Nietzsche.
whatever you call it, whatever you want.
I like it because first of all, it's proven itself to me after
Yeah, they're
breaking two.
great cases,
Yeah, after
100%.
breaking two consecutive phones that weren't Pixels, by the way. This was before the Pixel era. Um, I I just like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to have to grab a case. And then I broke a couple of, what's that? I did both of them on the face of it, right? So I discovered the liquid air from Spigen, and I won't get another one because the one that they call some thin thing is really not actually thinner, but it's not quite as soft and like this.
Yeah,
And it's pretty much the same money, and I don't know if I'd like it. So I just why not go with the one I know I like? And every year they always have it available, and it always becomes available about 3 days before the phone is released.
yeah,
And it's more than enough time because it's always available on Amazon, and I get it immediately. So I've used the
right.
same one, but they have a lot of other things. If you like different designs, there's a lot of other makers for all the phones. It doesn't matter what you get, by the way. All these manufacturers make cases for iPhones, for Samsung, for Google. Bellroy is a little bit, well, they're not new to it technically, but they're one of the newer ones in the big market.
Yeah,
They make like real leather, not faux leather that they call real leather, actual leather that they put on the cases. So
yeah,
Bellroy.
yeah.
Anywho,
Well,
there was something I needed to bring. I was going to bring up, and we got sidetracked a little bit there, and I think I forgot what it was.
yeah, we
Uh,
went from iPhone to storage to PlayStation MVEs and
yeah, a little bit of that, and a little bit of this.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah. So
I got it. Yep, here we go. Okay, the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. God, that's a mouthful. That Pixel 9 Pro Fold is in, and you can find them in stores. So I went to go check it out. My first impression is, oh my God, this is really cool. I like it. Like, honestly, if it had a better camera, I'd probably go. But then I found a second problem. And in my opinion, it's a software issue they could fix easily, like that. No problem. Um, but it took a while. I had to get the salespeople in there to allow me to piss around with the phone for a while. And then I explained to them what I was doing, and then explained to them the only way you could get around it. So I found out, here's what it was. With the Fold, you've got your regular, it's the same size as the 9, not the XL, or 9 Pro, not the XL, well, same size
right.
anyways.
Hmm.
Basically, the screen's the same as the 9 Pro. When you open it up, it's absolutely gorgeous. I promise you. Yes, you can feel the crease. You don't see it so much when there's anything on the screen. And if you open it up, it's likely going to be something on the screen. So it's really nice. It opens completely flat, which is fantastic. Extremely responsive screen. Everything looks fantastic about it. The size is great. But then I had it open and I did the circle to search thing, right? And just let me see if I can search something. There you go, circle to search. And it worked perfectly fine. So I opened it and thought, well, this would be really cool to use when you've got this open and you're doing all this room, you circle to search and you can see all your results right away. And there was no way to turn it on. It did not work. So I kept playing with it and playing with it. So I went over to the Samsung and the Samsung worked. But of course, the Samsung is default on 3-button menu. Ding, 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 light bulb. I go back to the Pixel. I turn on the 3-button navigation, open it up, boom, there's circle to search. Does not work. So I go back to the Samsung. I said to the sales guy, I'll bet you $1,000 right now that I can take the Samsung and put it on gesture instead of 3-button, and it'll still do circle to search in the open screen in the middle. He says, "Well, I'm not going to take the bet, but it's probably the same. It's probably an Android problem, not Pixel." I said, "You want to make a bet?" And I opened it up. I changed the setting, and there was a little line at the bottom. Let me see if I can open this up. At the bottom of the phone, that little line down there that you have to put your hand on, right?
Yeah.
It was there on both phones, but I put my hand on that, held it for half a second, and guess what the whatever you call it, Z Fold 6 did?
Circle search.
Exactly. Perfectly. Without fail. So I went back to the Pixel, turned it back to the 3-button menu, double checked that it worked, went back to the gesture, nothing. Google, you dropped the ball huge on this one. That's a big problem. People say, "Oh, well, you could just close it and work. You circle the search. You're on the same page. It doesn't change the page." But now you have to start looking for what you want to search. The whole point of circle to search is to circle right then and there. So you should be able to do it with the damn thing open. If Samsung can do it, why can't you? So there's my, and I'm a fanboy. I'm a Pixel fanboy. But if I see a problem with it, I'm going to call you out on it. I'm going to call you out on it. It's true.
So yeah, it's there's a lot of things like that though that are like, why? Yeah. Why would you not think about that? I mean, yeah. And again, I'm sure I watched the whole Google thing. The phone does look fantastic. Obviously, I haven't seen one in person, and the screen looks beautiful. I love the size of it. I would love to have a big screen like that. But it's not so much whether I can even see or feel the crease. That's not the issue to me. It's just the reliability of the screen that I'm still in question. So
I understand that, and you have your reasons behind it. But given that there's been zero issues with screen reliability on the Pixel Fold, and it was a first generation garbage compared to the second one, that's what reviewers are saying that have had the first one and now they're on the second one, and they're saying they're worlds apart. Some of them say they loved the design of the passport style first one, but they're way more in love with the second one. In all honesty, I never thought I would like it that much. If it had, and this is the biggest caveat for me, if it had the proper pro camera system in it, then
why doesn't it? I don't even understand why it doesn't. It doesn't even.
Oh, I can tell you why. You see how how thin this phone is, right? It's actually each side of it. Each side is thinner than this by a good margin. That's why this doesn't work very well. So they have to go with last year's at best phone. This one's deeper. People say, "Oh, they got the same camera in it." No, they don't. They put different lenses in it. So there's actually a different focal length in it. You might think it's the same, but there's a difference between the focal length between where it focuses and where it has to go to there. So that might be the same, but you might have a different distance between the lens and the sensor. Last year's was like
so
this.
I was under the impression
more depth of field.
Yeah, I was under the impression the thickness of each side when it was laid open was the same as the thickness of a regular phone. So what you're saying
No,
is
when
it's
it's
much thinner.
when it's closed, it is almost exactly the same as this.
Okay, well, that
Almost
makes sense then.
exactly the same. It's so unbelievably thin. It's like basically putting your hands on the thinnest OLED TV you've ever seen in your life, at the top edge, not the bottom where all the speakers are and stuff.
So I'm curious, what is that fold in Canadian dollars? How much is it?
Oh God, you're hurting me even asking me to look. I'm scared.
Well,
Let me
I'm
go.
just
No,
I
no.
want to
I know. I can't get my mouse to work. Otherwise, I'd go look. Um, Let me go check it out here. All right, let's see. I wonder if I can get this to do this. What do you call it? Google Store. Oh, it did work. Awesome. Okay, let's browsing some phones. Yeah, let's browse the phones. All right, let me go back here and share the screen while I'm already almost there. Oh, wait a minute. Got to get this ready to actually hit the share button. Screen. So yeah, I'm starting to figure out how to do this now after 17,000 years. So when I hit share, it doesn't mean you can see it. Show on stream. Yeah, there we go, the Google one. All right, let me get to it. Got to go back to this window. Where's the fold? Oh, there it is. Fold. Did I click it? I thought I clicked it. Did anything happen? I don't think anything happened, dude. Oh, wait a minute. All right, something's wrong here.
It's refreshing now. It looks like.
Yeah, but that should have just been instantaneous.
Okay, so $23.99. So it's from $23.99. So I was curious though to compare it to the iPhone price, which was $17.59.
Oh, yeah, no, that's not a good comparison. They don't have a foldable. That's not fair.
I know. No, that's my point.
Right.
That's exactly my point, though. Is I wanted to compare what their regular was to the foldable, and
oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
yeah, you're paying $600 more to have a foldable in the Pixel versus a regular phone in the iPhone. Now, granted, obviously, there's some of the hardware that's a lot different. I was just curious to compare, what their normal phone was to the Fold. So
yeah, right now I just like to know why their site is going so slow. I think it's because the Fold is actually ridiculously popular right now. As expensive as it is, it's selling like hotcakes for something as expensive as it is. Everybody and his dog seems to want one. I thought look at that. Jesus, it wouldn't go back to the page I wanted, so it jumped. All right, let's go in here. Man, I might be better off just going to one of the
Well, no, you answered my question. You don't. I mean,
no, yeah, but I didn't answer my question. I want to see because I know what I'm paying at Rogers, which is an inflated price. I want to know what they're charging here. What does it say? Yeah, that's
so
9.
The Fold in the US.
Skip it. Oh, there we go. Oh, hey, stop. Oh no, that's still Fold. It jumped back up again. Stop jumping. Okay, Pixel 9 Pro. That's 9 Pro. Where's the XL?
Click it up top.
No, that says 9 Pro and Pro XL, but then it only shows you the one. So I actually have to click on buy in order to see it. Okay, from $14.99. So $300 difference. However, that said, this of course starts at 128, not 256. So if I were to click on this one and then switch, oh God, it's not even letting me. Did they sell out or is it just not loaded yet? What the hell's going on? I mean, okay. Oh, I didn't pick one. That's why I'm an idiot. Okay, 256, 1629. So it's $170 less. Before tax. That's still a significant price difference. Up to maybe $100 I could see a difference, but I think they've over premiumized I know that's not really a word. I think they've over premiumized their device at Apple to make it. Google, I can almost understand doing this because they're trying to make themselves look like a direct competitor to Apple. Remember what I said before? I've been saying this since we started the podcast, by the way. Google is not trying to compare them, or sorry, not competing with Samsung. They have zero desire to compete with Samsung. They are in competition specifically with Apple. And there is the proof in the pudding. In the pricing is trying to get there, but they're still undercutting. Well, not really, because hey, Apple just priced theirs just now. um, but they're also not trying to get, step on the toes of Samsung.
So a 16 Pro Max in the US starts at $11.99. Pixel 9 Pro
XL.
XL 256 starts at $11.99. The 128 is $10.99. And the Fold is $17.39.
Wow. So wait, what did you say? Why am I jerky? Okay, I'm fine now. What did you say the 9 Pro XL was? Or sorry, the
11.99
sorry, I meant
for
the iPhone,
256.
16 Pro Max, I meant.
Oh, 11.99.
So they're actually the same price in the US.
Yeah.
The fuck? Oh. Google, what the shit are you doing? Or more importantly, Apple, what the shit are you doing? Why would you charge an extra $800 or $700 in Canada? What the fuck? They're basically saying it costs 600%, or no more than that, 900% more.
Well, no, I mean, what?
I don't know. My math is bad. What do you remember? I
Yeah.
told you the price was there. It was like
Yeah, but it was
17.99, whereas the Pixel was $170 less. So
yeah, but
it just sounds like
these are US dollars, not Canadian. I
I
mean, the
know that's what
exchange
I'm
rate.
saying. If you forget, even if you take into account the exchange rate, why is the exchange rate higher for iPhone than it is for Pixel? You understand what I'm saying, right? Pixel's exchange rate is pretty close to smack on for the difference in the dollar value, plus the extra amount it would cost for shipping, which is a fact because you have to factor in the shipping, not just the exchange rate. There's gas that they have to pay for in both US and Canadian dollars when they ship it. Fuel, right? Um, Apple seems to have overinflated on the Canadian end for the
Oh, I
exact
see what you're
same thing.
saying.
They should be the same damn difference in price. They are really seriously ripping off Canadians. I don't usually say this, but why the hell would you buy an iPhone at that price? That what are you crazy? Do you hear?
Oh, I
Did
see
you
what you're
hear
saying.
this?
You're
You
so
could look
so our
yourself.
17.99 Fold is your $2,300 Fold versus our 11.99 Pro Max is your 2,300 Pro Max. So I see what you're
No,
saying.
no,
Okay.
1799 Pro Max. It's $1,800.
Oh, say right.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
but
it's
yeah, but
yeah.
yet the Pixel is $170 less
Yeah.
than that. But in the US, the iPhone Pro Max and the Pixel 9 Pro XL 256 gig are the exact same price.
Yeah.
So there's zero reason why there should be a difference like that in Canada. They should be the same price. Now, Pixel is not undercutting themselves in Canada for that phone. So Apple is way overcharging Canadians for the phone.
Interesting.
Way overcharging Canadians for the phone. Apple.
Yeah.
Why
Interesting.
is, hang on one second. I can't believe I'm taking a phone call while I'm doing. No, I'll call him back. Oh, it's my watch calling though, eh?
That's funny. Anyways, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, enough about that. But
Yeah.
well, we are almost out of time, but I do want to bring up one other thing on the AI side of things. And we talked about it was the Gemini stuff. So, they're making a lot of advancements. And of course, because I have that 2 terabyte plan, of course, you have it too with your phone, the Gemini Advanced. But they have these things now called gems.
Yes, James.
And it's basically a like so like in Chat GPT, you have these chat bots, these GPTs, they call them, that can be customized for specific routines or like specific functions. Well, the gym is basically the same thing. So it's basically Gemini's GPT, where it can be very specific to like for example, if I want to write a blog, it would be like a gym specific that's designed to do blog posts, right? And that's what its like whole function is. That's what it's geared towards and optimized for. So I think it's pretty cool. There's something I'm testing for Google right now in a beta. I can't really talk about it yet, but it actually works really, really well. It's got some weird quirks, which I'll put in my little feedback stuff, but it actually works really, really well. But they do have some, basic ones that are available. I think you said you had some when you looked at it, right?
Well, I've looked at it. I don't understand it. I don't know what to do with it. So you're the guy in that direction to talk about that. I'd actually like to know exactly what.
See,
And I
like
know
for
you.
example, here's ones that are basically the like part of it. So for example, they have a gym called Career Guide, Unlock Your
You're
Career
pointing. You're
Potential.
pointing at it, but you're not showing it to us.
Yeah. Well, I can't because it's got some of the stuff in there that I'm beta testing. So I can't
Oh,
show
okay,
it.
okay, all right. Fair enough, fair enough.
Sorry, yeah. Look. Sorry. But no, so like writing editor, right? So writing coach.
Embargo.
They have
Okay.
things that are like optimized and specifically written to do a specific kind of task. So I
Right.
think it's pretty cool. It's again, it's just like a GPT in Chat GPT where you can go search for a GPT to like write a blog post, and it's geared specifically for writing blog posts or whatever the case may be. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's pretty cool.
I personally wouldn't know what to do with any of it because again, that's kind of beyond my scope of how to do things. But I'm glad others know. In all honesty, when it comes to Gemini, I just like to see thrice the amount of voices available and way more diversity because even the ones with accents sound very, very, very Midwest America. Not that there's anything wrong with Midwest America, but if you're not from there, you're probably wondering why do I not? You know what I want to know? Why doesn't any of these do a nice Southern accent? People make fun of Southern accents, but there's millions of people with Southern accents because that's just how their accents ended up being. It's no different than an English accent or a New York accent. So why can't I get, uh,
I haven't even looked to see
you know,
what kind of accents. I assume my voices here in the U.S. side would be the same as yours. I'd imagine.
they're exactly the same voices.
Yeah.
There's no difference. I don't have any French Canadian voices, which would also be kind of neat. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd love to say, hey, how's the weather? The weather is going to be good today. Yeah, le creton.
Yeah. So,
But I
but
mean,
anyways, that's what those gyms are, and I think they're on the right track. Though I think they're trying to compete with the Chat GPTs that are available that you can have do specific functions and tasks. Like I mean, I had some in mind when I used Chat GPT before I moved over to Gemini. So they're just like code snippets that are geared and optimized for a specific type function is all it is. So anyways, I think that's all I wanted to talk about, and I guess we're
Chat
right at our normal
GPT.
hour.
Oh wow, has it been? It has been an hour already.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
we've been rambling about all kinds of crazy stuff.
We have.
Not really rambling. We've been talking about
Eh,
it. It's what we do. That's what we do
it's
here at
what we do.
United We Stand,
It's
Divided We
what we do.
Podcast. It's what we do.
Um,
It's
and
our
by the way,
jam.
if anybody's still wondering, I don't know how many of you may or may not be. Yes, my Pixel 9 Pro XL. I still love it. It's still the best phone I've ever had. Not just the best Pixel, the best phone I've ever had. It's phenomenal. Battery life is fantastical. So there you have it.
Yeah,
I don't have a lot
it
to
has its
say
own
because
pillow.
I'm not a reviewer in that respect. And unfortunately, I still haven't got a lot of stuff going on, and I still have another video I have to do about the edits for the last video I put on my channel. Um, but again,
Yeah.
I will say before we leave, both of us have other channels. Links in description. But this one, don't forget to like. Where are the buttons down here somewhere? It'd be this way. Like and subscribe. No, I mean hit the bell icon and all that stuff. Or maybe you can pop something up right here. Nah, that's too much work. But you can check out one of these videos. Oh, wait. I'm not in the middle of the screen. You have to put your hand up on the other side. One of these videos. Go ahead. Go ahead. Put your hand up. One of these. No, the other hand. Yeah, because remember, there's both of us. So it's one of these videos. Check it out.
Actually, I have it center, so it'd be like this. Like,
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, but you're centered. You're talking about there, but there's two of us on the screen. So I guess we should maybe move. Whoops, sorry, I moved the wrong way. Move over and go like this.
yeah. That's funny.
Okay. So I was going to say conclusion, but that's not it. What is that when you say something in post at the end? Basically, the last thing, just to recap. That's it. Pixels, excellent. Pixel Fold, fantastic. But Google, you made a mistake. You left something out. You can't really go wrong with any flagship phone, but beware, you're not going to get your Apple Intelligence out of the box if you buy it on day one.
And Canadians, if you buy an iPhone, you're getting ripped off.
Exactly. Uh, Obviously, it's been 23 years, but there's still people that hurt. Our hearts go out to all of you survivors and
Yes.
people, lots of loved ones. Be safe out there, everybody, and you have a wonderful week. And we'll see you again soon. I'm Lionel from Toronto.
And I'm Robert from Nashville. See you next week.
Ciao.